The recent outbreaks of measles and whooping cough in some parts of Australia with low vaccination rates have prompted much soul-searching about how to balance public health with concerns about vaccinations among a minority of parents. Meanwhile, in the United Kingdom, an epidemic of measles spreading across Wales is being seen as the anti-vaccination campaign of the last decade coming home to roost. Parents in the southern Welsh city of Swansea, in particular, were scared off the combined immunisation jab called MMR because of controversial and now discredited claims linking the vaccine to autism. Now there are a substantial number of unvaccinated teenagers and parents regretting their decisions. Europe correspondent Mary Guerin reports Wales reported its first death from the outbreak 3 days ago.
It's a rainy Saturday morning in Bridgend, South Wales, and news of the measles epidemic has propelled hundreds of worried parents to queue at their local hospital for the combined MMR vaccine for measles, mumps and rubella.
Yeah, I'm a little scared if I'm honest. It's the numbers are increasing daily. It doesn't seem to be getting any better.
Anxiety is sweeping across the traditionally working-class city of Swansea and its surrounds. More than 800 cases have been reported here since November, about 7 times the number throughout the country for the whole of last year. The epidemic is spreading east towards the capital Cardiff and beyond, and public health officials are preparing for a wave of ill effects.
It's always said that 1 in 10 will get ear infections, 1 in 5 will get pneumonia, 1 in 1,000 will get encephalitis, stroke, meningitis, and 1 in 5,000 can die.
Public health officials in Wales have opened up more and more drop-in clinics like this as the outbreak has spread and concern has grown. And yet authorities are warning that it could take weeks for the epidemic to reach its peak.
16-year-old Elliot Clegg waits alongside babies in the clinic to get a vaccination shot due 13 years ago.
Are you scared of getting measles?
Yeah, I'm pretty scared because there's a high risk of getting it because there's a lot of numbers. A lot of people are getting it, so I am pretty scared.
You take a seat over there.
His mother, Steph, delayed his first MMR jab and didn't pursue the booster because just as he was born came headlines about alarming claims suggesting the MMR vaccine had links to autism and bowel disease.
Do you regret that decision now?
Yeah, because the research was completely flawed, so yeah, it shouldn't have been allowed to be published in the first place.
So you've changed your mind, in fact?
I have, yes.
And you've got no doubts now that getting the vaccination is the right thing to do?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Protect him and the rest of the community.
The autism claims came from British researcher Andrew Wakefield. He's since been struck off Britain's medical register. Officials found he conducted his research unethically, dishonestly and irresponsibly. At about the same time as he made his original claims, the Blair family of Downing Street refused to say whether new baby Leo had received the MMR jab. There was an outbreak of doubt, especially in Swansea, where the local paper ran a high-profile campaign highlighting the concerns.
Rather unusually, some of the lack of uptake is among rather less characteristic families. Certainly most of my colleagues associate generally more advantaged parents who have very pronounced views on vaccination. I mean, in Swansea it was, I think, a rather more widespread phenomenon for some of the time.
Medical authorities say 95% of a population needs to be vaccinated before measles can be controlled. But the growing anti-vaccine sentiment saw the rate in some age groups in this region plummet to 75%. And it's those unvaccinated youngsters now turning up at clinics with their distraught parents.
It's been very distressing. I think it's brought into question for themselves their decisions all those years ago.
GP Dr Charlotte Jones says she remembers the strength of the anti-vaccination campaign, being a first-time mother during that period. But she says the distress caused by the current disease outbreak should overcome lingering doubts.
I believe that there is a moral obligation to have your child vaccinated. Yes, you need choice, but we've got to think about the potential harm or the implications if you don't get your child vaccinated, both to them and also within the wider community of these infections spreading, and they are serious infections. We mustn't forget that.
Yeah, we are. They've had it.
But as thousands like Steph Clegg change their minds, some remain unconvinced.
You're a good boy now.
Jackie Ecton still believes her son Daniel's autism was triggered by his MMR vaccination at 14 months because of his family history of epilepsy.
You know that the research linking autism and the vaccines has been discredited. What do you say when people tell you that?
I can only tell them what I've seen with my own eyes. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist. I can only look back on what happened to us.
Jackie Ecton says she's not anti-vaccination, but like other critics of MMR, she believes the combined vaccine may well have been more dangerous for her son than a single jab for measles, which is still not available under the public health scheme. Meanwhile, from his base in the United States, Andrew Wakefield has hit back, claiming the British government is to blame for the current epidemic because it did not supply a single measles vaccine. The Health Department has dismissed his claims as nonsense. 15 years after the media aired the Wakefield concerns, this latest measles scare seems to have reversed the fall in vaccinations.
I certainly think it's hard to convince people there's going to be a problem until there is a problem.
Meanwhile, a potentially fatal disease, once well under control, continues to flare. With 40,000 Welsh children still unvaccinated, officials have opened clinics in some schools. For now, at least, fear of the disease seems to be overtaking fear of the vaccine. Mary Gearan, Lateline.